Welcome to Psi Friday with Mason. We're starting our first episode and our first of a series of 5-minute updates. And this one begins, ironically, on a Friday the 13th. And probably a lot of you are wondering, why should Friday the 13th be such a legendarily cursed day? I think part of it, in the general, has to do with a general sense that the number 13 is unlucky. And the reason people might think it's unlucky is probably because it's a little bit unbalanced. You know, in the West, 3 and 4 are widely considered very sacred numbers. 3 is the goddess, 4 is the square, the male, stable number. Both of them are holy numbers. And 3 times 4 is going to be 12, and that's another very sacred number. That's the 12 apostles. But the added one that makes the 12 into an unbalanced number, you know, might be seen as something maybe related to the Last Supper. So this idea that the 13th member of any type of group is unlucky, it's an old one. It might go back to that. But I think the most direct historic event that might have to do with Friday the 13th being legendarily cursed, it comes from customs concerning the Knights Templar. Now, the Knights Templar, you know, it's pretty hard to summarize them in the span of a short program, but let's just say that there's been a lot. It was a band of knights, most of them were French, who drew together at the end of the First Crusade, which would have been around 1119, when they took the Holy Land over and made it a different set of overlords. And they found what they believed to be the remains of the Temple of Solomon. And these 9 guys, noble knights and all that, and great warriors and all that, they declare themselves the defenders of the temple. Now, there's enormous supernaturalism, mysticism, folklore connected, anything with the name of Solomon. So a lot of your conspiracy fanatics are having red flags go off here. So they occupy the Temple of Solomon, and they call themselves the Poor Knights of Christ. Pauperes milites Christi. And they weren't poor at all. They were bankers, you know, they were great warriors, a real unique military order. But they were also the first type of a banking order you'd recognize as being fairly modern in the Middle Ages. For hundreds of years, the Knights Templar were 200 years. The Templars were very wealthy, very famous, very prominent. I mean, they were superstars. And around 1305, the French king, Philip the Fair, he's in debt to the Templars. And he's thinking, you know, I owe the Knights Templar a lot of money and I can't pay it. Why don't I just kill them? So, you know, they were not a numerous order. They were wonderful shock troops in battle formation, but they were scattered in their castles. And so Philip the Fair surprised them and knocked them off and he didn't kill many of them, but he brought them back to Paris. And the day of this secret strike, it fell on a Friday the 13th. And this just shocked Europe, utterly, absolutely shocked. And, you know, I think there may have only been 7 to 9 of the leaders of the Knights Templar who were actually killed, you know. But in their confessions, they confessed to Satanism and witchcraft. And, you know, there's almost nothing you get out of somebody under torture that's terribly reliable. I mean, they'll say anything they think you want to hear. So I'd have to say I'm not sure they were Satanists or witchcraft fanatics. I do think that Knights Templar might have certainly practiced a type of spirituality that wasn't mainstream Christianity. They could have very well been Gnostics, which is an earlier form of Christianity. But the long and the short of it is, I think you've got your two reasons why Friday the 13th might be considered unholy. Something related to numerology and something related to the fall of a powerful order of medieval knights.